Base launch trajectory countdown net. Pad is clear.
10, 9, 8.
Launch auto sequence
7,
has started.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Go for launch.
Vehicle is supersonic.
Stage separation confirmed. Dragon, separation confirmed. Stage 1 is transonic. Landing legs have deployed. And Falcon 9 has landed. Falcon Heavy is in startup.
There's that call out that Falcon Heavy is in startup mode. With that, the only thing left is to hear Mission Control Launch Director give us the final go for launch.
Falcon Heavy, go for launch.
Great news out of Mission Control. So with just a little bit more than 30 seconds to go, all systems are go for the launch of Falcon Heavy and our Jupiter 3 spacecraft.
T-minus 30 seconds. Seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Engine full power. And liftoff from Falcon Heavy. Go Falcon 9. Go Falcon Heavy. Go liftoff.
Stage 1, chamber pressure is nominal.
We are just over 30 seconds into flight under the power of over 5 million pounds of thrust, and Falcon Heavy is on its way to space. Right now, we're throttling down in preparation for max Q, which is, of course, the moment of peak.
Power and telemetry nominal.
Callouts there that power and telemetry are both looking good for Falcon Heavy. Again, what we're preparing for next is max Q, which is the peak mechanical stress on the rocket. So that is a critical flight milestone for us today. And with that supersonic call out, we know that Falcon Heavy is moving faster than the speed of sound.
Max Q.
There we've passed through max Q. So now the engines are throttling up. Everything's looking good with the stage 1 trajectory, which is great news. Our side boosters are throttled all the way up right now, but the center core is operating at reduced power. We'll gradually begin reducing thrust from the side boosters to decrease forces on the vehicle structure as we approach our next major flight event, BECO. BECO, which stands for Booster Engine Cutoff, is expected at about 2.5 minutes into flight. That's where we'll shut down the engines on the side boosters. And then following BECO, the side boosters will separate away from the center core and begin their trip back to Earth. The center core engines will then ramp up to full power and burn for approximately another minute, while the side boosters execute their boost back burns simultaneously. Incredible views of Falcon Heavy right now. And as a reminder, although we are not attempting to recover our center core due to performance today, we will be attempting to land those 2 side boosters on landing zones 1 and 2, so we'll have great views for you on the right-hand side of your screen.
Side booster separation confirmed.
Side core separation.
There we've had confirmation of side core separation there. And shortly, those side boosters are going to begin the first of 3 burns prior to landing
Boost back startup.
back on land. There's the call out that we've had boost back begin. We're going to have several things happen in quick succession here. So some of the things we're looking for are MECO on our main engine, and then those 2 entry and landing burns of the side boosters. On your screen right now, we have views of both of those side boosters on their way back to Earth. There we go, over on the side right there. Following main engine cutoff of the center core, we are looking for stage separation of the center core and the second stage, and then SES-1, or second engine start 1, for the MVAC engine on board stage 2. Shortly after that, we will also have fairing separation, so let's keep an eye on all of those events happening back to back here in just a couple seconds.
Booster boost back shutdown.
There's confirmation that the boost back burn on both side boosters has
Stage
completed.
separation confirmed.
Acquisition signal for meter.
Stage 1 FTS has saved center core.
MVAC ignition.
So you saw on your screen there, we had successful boost back burn on the side boosters, main engine cutoff on our center core, stage separation, and that beautiful view means that we have had second engine start 1. That will wrap it up.
Fairing separation confirmed.
That wraps it up for our center core and our fairing halves tonight. So while stage 2 now continues on its journey to space, those fairing halves are currently falling back to Earth.
All vehicles are following nominal trajectories.
With that, we know both vehicles, the center core and stage 2, are on nominal trajectories. And of course, we're going to try to recover those fairing halves again tonight using our recovery vessel, Doug. So next up, we'll be attempting to recover the 2 Falcon Heavy side boosters on land back at LZ-1 and LZ-2. Fun fact, Landing Zone 2 was built to support dual booster landings like the one we're attempting tonight. Now, at the time of separation, the side boosters were traveling slow enough to turn around and make their way back to land at those side-by-side landing pads, but they've picked up a lot of speed since then. So in just a few minutes, the side boosters will execute an entry burn, followed by a landing burn. Both of these burns are meant to slow the side boosters down rapidly. If those landings are successful today, they will be the 211th and 212th landing of an orbital class rocket. But as I mentioned earlier, because of the additional performance required for this mission, the center core will be expended, and we're not attempting to recover it. Entry burn should begin for those side boosters in just about 10 seconds.
Side booster entry burn startup.
There's confirmation from mission control that the entry burn has begun. Now, each side booster has ignited just one engine in preparation for landing.
Side booster entry burn shutdown.
There's confirmation that we have now shut down for the entry burn. Next coming up is our landing burn. And as a reminder, this will be a
Side boosters FTS has saved.
a 3-engine landing burn on each of those side boosters. Starting to get some initial views in from those side boosters as they come back to Florida, and expecting that landing burn to start here in just about 20 or 30 seconds.
Both side boosters are transonic.
Boosters are transonic on their way back to land at LZs 1 and 2.
Side booster landing burn.
Landing burn has started.
Side booster landing leg deploy. Dual side booster landing confirmed.
That is absolutely incredible, and as you can see, our team is thrilled.
Stage 2 FTS has saved.
With that, we have successfully landed both Falcon Heavy side boosters on landing zones 1 and 2. That marks the 211th and 212th overall successful landing of an orbital class rocket. Next up, in just about 10 seconds, we are looking for second engine cutoff 1 of the MVAC engine up in space.
Seco.
Confirmation of second engine cutoff 1.
Nominal orbit insertion.
And that's great news that we're in a good orbit. So at this point, we'll be heading into a coast phase until our second relight of the MVAC engine around the T+26 minute mark. We'll come back to bring you live coverage of that second burn in about 15 minutes. But until then, sit back and enjoy the space tunes. Welcome back to our coverage of the Jupiter 3 mission. If you're just joining us, we had an on-time liftoff at 11:04 p.m. Eastern Time from Kennedy Space Center's LC-39A. Coming up next is the second of 3 total burns that the second stage needs to execute before payload deployment. This burn should last about 2 minutes, and we're expecting it to begin here in just under 30 seconds. So the ground station that we're passing may or may not be able to give us any live coverage of this burn, so we'll go ahead and listen in on the nets. There we go. There's stage 2 up in space, looking great. You can, of course, also always follow along with the stage 2 telemetry down in the bottom corner of your screen. Expecting about another 40 seconds until we should hear the call out for second engine cutoff 2, or SECO 2, from Mission Control. Looking at probably 15 seconds more on this burn of the Merlin vacuum engine. We're listening in now to Mission Control for that call out for SECO 2 and nominal orbital insertion of the second stage.
Nominal orbit insertion.
With that confirmation of successful second engine cutoff and nominal orbital insertion, we are entering another coast phase. Our third and final burn of the MVAC engine prior to payload deployment is scheduled to occur at the T+3 hour and 33 minute mark. So until then, stay tuned and enjoy those views of space. Thanks again for joining us for tonight's Jupiter 3 mission. We've had a successful mission so far, and the next milestone coming up in the mission is the third and final burn of our second stage engine. The last MVAC burn is coming up here in just about 20 seconds, and we expect it to last just under 30 seconds. Great views from up in space while we're watching second stage, too. While we didn't hear a call out there from Mission Control, we did see the second engine on stage 2 relight for that third and final time. So now we're just waiting for confirmation.
Nominal orbit insertion.
And there we've got it, of nominal orbital insertion. So there you saw, and as you just heard from Mission Control, that is our third successful burn for this mission. With that, we are tracking payload deploy coming up in just about 5 minutes. So hang tight, we'll see you in a few. Hello and welcome back once again to our coverage of the Jupiter 3 mission. We're coming up on the final milestone for this mission, payload deployment. The Jupiter 3 payload on board the second stage was built by Maxar and will be the largest commercial communications satellite ever to launch into geostationary orbit, weighing over 9 tons. Once operational, the payload on board the second stage will help meet demand for HughesNet satellite internet in rural areas of the United States and Latin America, as well as demand for Explore service for rural customers in Canada. We're expecting payload deployment coming up here in just about 20 seconds.
Payload deploy confirmed.
There is that confirmation from Mission Control, and obviously you can see on your screen that we have had successful deployment of Jupiter 3. With that, we will bring our mission coverage to a close. We'd like to thank our customer, EchoStar, and their Hughes Network Systems division for entrusting us with today's launch. We'd also like to thank the range and the FAA for licensing today's mission. And of course, we'd like to thank all of our viewers for tuning in. If you're interested in more launch content, head over to our website and social media platforms for updates on our next missions and milestones. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you again soon.